Well, I'm here with Oscar Pistorius, a South African athlete who, unique among Olympians, will be almost certainly competing in both the Olympics and the Paralympics in London in 2012. But you've a bit of work to do yet before you qualify. Is that correct, Oscar?
Very excited because I have run the A qualification time needed for the Olympic Games last year. But each season holds its own challenges, as you said. So we've got to qualify again, and there is a bit of work that we still have ahead of us.
How good a feeling was it for you when you finally got that time?
It was a great feeling. I mean, I've had a lot of faith in my coaching staff. I've been with them for 8 years, and they've done a lot of hard work, and every year seems to be getting stronger and stronger. But I missed the qualification for the Beijing Games by less than a quarter of a second, which was devastating. And I said to myself then in 2008 that I won't miss that opportunity again. And every year has been about working and preparing for each season harder than the previous one.
Now, it's unlikely but possible that there are people watching this who are looking and going, well, why is he in the Paralympics? For the benefit of anyone out there who may not know, could you explain?
Yeah, I was born with missing fibula, which is one of the bones between your knee and your ankle. When I was 11 months old, I had my legs amputated. I grew up playing sports with my older brother, who's a year older than I am, a year and a half older than I am, and just kind of grew up with a very normal lifestyle. My mother said to me in the morning, Oscar, you put on your legs, Cole, you put on your shoes. And that was as far as disability, as far as I saw it. And as I grew up, I played several sports. In 2003, I was playing a rugby game at high school level, and I had a knee injury. And part of my sport rehabilitation was to get involved in a track program. And 8 months later, I was running in the Paralympic Games. It was the first international disabled meet that I'd ever participated in. I didn't really know much about the Paralympic movement or sport for people with disabilities because I'd grown up in mainstream sport. And for the first time I realized how much I'd missed out. There's such a camaraderie and ethos between Paralympic athletes that I really loved.
Going back to the rugby, I've heard a story, I don't know if it's apocryphal or not. Is it true you were once belting towards the try line when you were the victim of a violent tackle?
I actually lost a prosthetic leg in a rugby game. I've actually got it on video still, which is, I didn't know many people knew about that. And the story goes that I got tackled about 2 meters from the line, and my prosthetic leg came off, and I took about 3 hops over the line and put the ball down. And I was awarded the try, and the guy had my leg under his arm, and I had the rugby ball on the other side of the try line. So,
was growing up in a sport-mad country like South Africa a help for you?
It was a huge help. Unlike my siblings, I was never much of an academic at school, and I wasn't very good with the books, so I think I had to excel somewhere, and sport was the one thing that I felt very comfortable with. My parents always said to me is that, a loser in sport is not the person who gets involved and comes last, it's the person that doesn't get involved in the first place. That's kind of the philosophy we grew up with, and I attempted most sports, and most of them I wasn't great at, but I always enjoyed.
You run on the famous blades, and you do get grief for it from certain quarters. People say that it gives you an unfair advantage. I think your argument is that, while you finish quickly, your start is affected, you can slip, you don't have as much traction on the track. Do you get fed up with the criticism you get?
We went through in 2007 with the IAAF through a period where they said I had an unfair advantage using the prosthetic legs. It resulted in us having to do a whole host of tests through Rice University and a professor called Hugh Herr at MIT. With the information that we gathered, we took it to the Court of Arbitration for Sports in 2008, and they had a unanimous decision that there was no way that the prosthetic leg could provide an advantage. This is a prosthetic leg that's been made since 1996, and tens of thousands of amputees have used, so it's not just a custom-made piece for myself. I think my job is on the track, and I believe I always have critics in certain parts, whether they're doing it to gain momentum for whatever argument they have, or be in the limelight. That's a personal issue that a lot of those people have. But I must admit, for the supporters, 95% supporters I have, the 5% or less is always going to be there, and that's something I've come accustomed to.
You had an accident in 2009, a boating accident. You were driving and nearly bloody killed yourself, but you had serious head injuries, and from what I can gather, that seems to have, you cope with adversity well by all accounts, but this seems to have convinced you to knuckle down and in hindsight, and this might be a really stupid question, was it a bit of a blessing?
I think it was a bit of a blessing. I don't think initially after the accident it had really dawned on me what had happened, how lucky I was. It took several months for the message to kind of kick in. I hit a pier that was submerged a couple of centimeters under the water at quite a speed, and I broke several bones in my face and had just over 100 stitches, ripped my nose open and broke my jaw and ribs and things. And looking back, there were things that I was doing in my life that weren't conducive to performance. You know, I was racing motorbikes on the weekends and just kind of taking unnecessary risks. Things that I loved doing, that I'd always been doing from a young age, but just needed to kind of say, you know, I'm focused from Monday to Friday on the track, but then on the weekends I'm not doing anything to help my performances. And I've set aside so many things personally and you know, in my life to just achieve physically the goals that I want to achieve and have mentally the confidence that I need for my racing, that to go and throw it away for a bit of fun wouldn't make sense right now. And this is something I love. It's not that anybody's made me do track and field. I love what I do and I want to be the best. And if that means sacrificing a couple of smiles, I can make them up somewhere else.
Is it true that you used to have tigers in your house?
Not in my house, but I have a camp next to my house where I used to have white tigers. They went
as in Siegfried and Roy type?
Yeah, as in like 250 kilogram tigers. I bought them on a bit of an impulse when they were about 30 kilograms, and within a year and a half they grew really large.
And were they docile or?
Yeah, they were very chilled. The female got a bit fresh with people that she didn't know, but she just kind of grabbed their feet and start softly chewing on it, and the people would always be like, "Oh, she's so cute," and they'd be a bit nervous, and then she'd really see the gap and try go for them.
Where are they now?
They're in Canada, actually. They're in Canada at a private estate.
So are they actually in Canada, or is that they're in Canada?
No, they're in Canada. No, there's a guy who's got an amazing estate in Canada, and he collects animals, and it's a personal place. So he sent over pictures, and we saw it, and it looked pretty beautiful. So they're over there and having a far better time, I'm sure.
You're known as the Bladerunner, and is it true you've never seen that movie?
Bladerunner? I saw it recently, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really did enjoy it. I hadn't seen it until recently, and I'd always been like, yeah, I want to watch it, I'm going to do that this weekend, and, you know, it's just never come about. But I guess nicknames are the one thing that, if you're in our profession and in the limelight, as long as they don't have negative connotation, you take them with a pinch of salt.
Okay. Well, Oscar, thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate it. You're
the first person I've ever interviewed who I've all through, so I really want to kick on the shins.
Thank you.